There is no better way to start off Nerd Radio but with some French hard rock. That's right, everybody. What is up? It's your boy, Nick. Here with me today is... We can't hear it.
Oh, damn it. He's purring super loud right now. It's Nate.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to Nerd Radio, your national Nerdnet Radio Direct. It's on like the Donkey Kong or the King Kong. Haven't seen it yet, but we're watching it tonight, so...
Wait, hold on a second. Are you watching Kong versus Godzilla tonight?
No, I'm watching
Godzilla versus Kong.
Godzilla versus Kong.
You fucking asshole. I was talking about Godzilla, like the 2014 movie. Like,
Yes,
that's
that
what I
one
watched right
finally
there.
did get on. Yeah, I'm watching King
Yeah.
Kong Godzilla
Godzilla
versus.
versus Kong.
Ugh. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
alphabetical, I guess.
yeah. Well, it's one of those that I had actually watched Kong for the very first time a couple weeks ago, and I didn't get to see King of Monsters yet. That's just one of those that I wanted to see in theaters, never got around to it. Same old, same old. But after watching Kong, I was like, now I kind of want to go back and watch the first Godzilla, and I couldn't because I had to rent it. So I'm gonna watch King of Monsters and then hopefully go see Godzilla versus Kong in theaters.
Oh, you want to see it in theaters?
Yes.
You want to brave the COVID?
Yeah.
I mean, technically have the antibodies. I will admit, as much as like we can shit on, anti-masker, anti-vaxxers, I will admit that one of the most confusing things is, can you or can you not still contract it? And then we have like different strains and all this other stuff. So it's like, I don't know. It does get confusing. But the thing is that I don't take my confusion out on other fucking people. Or I don't take my confusion and go, well, that means I don't have to wear a mask anymore.
Yeah. No, I mean, still wear a fucking mask. Be a decent person.
Right?
I mean,
Like, do you wear a mask, sir?
Yes, I do.
Well, why do you? You have the antibodies. What's wrong with you? It's theater, obviously.
I wear a mask because I had COVID and I don't want to spread COVID. Exactly. I mean, that's
exactly. It's simple as that. We have no idea. We literally have no idea. For all we know, you could still infect some people. You don't know that. I mean, I'm sure there's a study. Heyo. I'm sure there's a study out there that says, so many hours after or so many days after, no more symptoms, you can't spread it or whatever. But maybe there's a percentage that you still can. You know what I mean? Which, I applaud you for still wearing your mask because you're still a decent person regardless of whether or not you had it. Fucking Senator Rand Paul is arguing with Anthony Fauci. This was a couple weeks ago or whatever. So let's get all political. But Rand Paul is arguing with Anthony Fauci. Okay. Here's my thing. It really fucking pisses me off when people argue with Anthony Fauci. Because it's like, bitch, have you even been to a biology class in the last who God knows how long? And here's the thing. I pay taxes. I don't know if I've had this rant before. Have I had this rant before?
I don't know, but you're going on it anyway.
All right. So, I pay taxes, okay? I go and I buy something for $1. Here in Idaho, I buy something for $1 and 6 cents is tax. So, where's that 6 cents go? Logically, that 6 cents is tax that goes towards whatever. Some of it's state, some of it's federal. Okay, and so through a chain of logic, we're just chaining them together, okay? Through a chain of logic, my money that I pay on a candy bar, a soda, when I buy, when I do rent, I guess I don't do taxes on rent. I don't know. But the point being is that everything that I'm paying for, I'm paying a tax. That tax goes to the state and the federal government. Now, the federal government uses that and it spreads it out between all its departments. What's one of the departments that it spreads it out to? The CDC. Now, the CDC obviously has a very heavy vetting system where they go through and they hire the best people for the job. They hire people who are infection perfectionists. They hire somebody who went to college for this. Who's been doing it their whole life. Anthony Fauci's one of them. He's been doing this since the Clinton administration or whatever. Now all of a sudden he's bipartisan. Now all of a sudden he's just a liberal or whatever. When he's been here through several several presidents, and his fucking job is infection. And half of the political people are just like, well,
science.
science. Like, fuck this.
We believe the word. We believe the word of God.
Right.
We don't believe in science.
Jesus Christ. I mean, no pun intended there.
Yeah, there you go.
But seriously, it's just like, so my whole thought process there is that I pay taxes to hire people who are more smarter than me, because I just used that in a phrase,
Yes,
but
you
who
did.
are more and more smarter, the most smartest, as some would say,
The smartest is.
right? Smartest. Anyways, and I expect them to do their job, and I expect them to tell me, especially if they're from the center of disease control.
Yeah.
I expect that person to tell me, like, what I should do about an infection or whatever. And it's just like, to see like a senator, talking about quote unquote theater, when it's like, no, it's you who's putting the theater. It's like, this guy is a fucking professional. Why are you questioning him? It's like, oh, but I want to see, the studies that say that people who have the infection or vaccine and I'm like, it's like, to a certain extent, maybe, yeah, but we still have other strands. Like, there's a Brazilian strand, there's a European strand, there's one more, I think. But there's these different strands, and why are they around? Because we let it fester too long. We as a society let it fester for way too long, and it evolved, because that's what fucking sicknesses do. That's why the flu is still around, because the flu evolves. That's why when you take a vaccine for the flu, it's only like 40, 50% effective, because it evolves all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Anyways, the political / totally not political, because it's just fucking science and facts, rant is over, and we can move on with our life.
Superheroes. Speaking of,
who said that?
down
Jeez.
with the sick. I don't know where we're going with this.
I don't know where you're going. I'm just along for the ride.
Long for the ride. So there's a lot of superhero shit going on. So there's a chance, just depending on where conversation goes, that this might just be all superhero today. But both of us have now finished the Snyder Cut.
Yep. And both of us have caught up to Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep. And so there is a shit ton of stuff to talk about in both respects.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Yeah, let's just jump right into it. Falcon and Winter Soldier. I keep wanting to say Cap and Winter Soldier.
Me too.
Well, I mean, technically, we might get to that point. We're at the mid-season. This was the mid-season for Falcon and Winter Soldier, which, let's talk about the fact that they're going up in the count. Like, as far as, I think the first two were 49 minutes. This one was 53.
Oh, yeah?
And it's like, okay, we're showing the extension. The biggest thing that I want to point out is how Marvel has changed face with what they're showing in this. And I'm talking about the violence.
Yeah.
That's more violence than I think we've seen in most Marvel movies, because you're actually seeing, like, there's Sharon straight up shot a dude in the head. Like, that, there's no arguing that. She had a knife stabbing people. You could see the blood marks. And I'm like, oh, because I mean, used to, it was like, are they actually killing people in Marvel? It's like, well, more than likely you're having a very, very strong shield being thrown at you. You're probably dead.
Yeah, right.
So, like, the fact that they're basically showing that at this point is like, okay. It's almost like a soft retcon.
Yeah, right.
In a way. But yeah, I mean, I guess, what were your thoughts on the episode?
I mean, overall, I feel like the quality is staying consistent. I feel like episode 1 being very kind of like story heavy and like emotionally heavy was really good, because like it really just got us grounded in this new world, because we got some of that new world with Wanda and Vision, but we were really focused on Wanda. When I said that weird, we were very focused on Wanda. and her world, and we got a little glimpse of it when Rambo came back, but not really. So now we got kind of introduced to this brand new world, so to speak, because now here's half of the population, which is 100% of the main characters, got snapped away. And now they came back, and how they're dealing with the world, how they're dealing with everything, and not only that, but then the Flag Smashers themselves are obviously people who are more interested in the world that was than the world that is, because they believe that people who came back are getting more attention than the people who are who
displaced.
The people who were here the whole time, basically.
Yeah.
And so there's little animosity there or whatever. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I can definitely dig this, because it's just like, it's an interesting premise. So then 2 came along. We're getting way more into the nitty gritty of, okay, you gave the shield away and the main kind of villains that we're dealing with. And then now 3, it's like even more into it. We go to Tortuga, essentially. Which I
Modern day
thought,
Tortuga.
right? I thought it was actually kind of cool, because it's like, especially when they're going down that bridge, it's like there's no cars on that bridge. Meaning like they 100% dictate who gets to come and go. And I'm like, that's interesting. Especially in a post-snap world or whatever, which I guess in general they're just calling it the blip. Whether they're talking about when they left or when they came back, they still refer to it as the blip. But yeah, anyways, so like in a post-blip world, like it makes sense. And now that everybody's trying to get back to normal, this one little island, in Shanghai, they call it something else, but it's like, no, that's Shanghai, obviously. Like, I think there's even that little like tower with the needle or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's Shanghai. But they call it like Mangalore or Mangadoo, or I don't know what the fuck it's called. So,
Madapur, something like that.
Magapur, yeah. See, so I was thinking Singapore. Like it's a replacement for Singapore. That's what I was thinking, because it's close enough to the name. You know what I mean? Anyway, so we get into that world, and I love it. I absolutely kind of love that and everything. So yeah.
What I really enjoyed about this one, well, first off, because I just saw episode 2 the other day. Whew, man, that was a great fucking episode. Like, as far as everything with Bucky and Sam. But the whole thing with Isaiah Bradley, like that whole introduction of stuff, like and honestly, the social commentary, I don't feel like is ham-fisted in the absolute slightest, and I feel like it's welcome. The whole interaction when they were on the street and the cops pulled up is like, it's like I appreciate what they're doing. I appreciate what they're doing in this sense.
Not everybody does, which was super fucking annoying, because it's just
it really is, yeah.
Like, did you see my tweet about it?
Not your tweet. I didn't see your tweet.
No, okay. Yeah, my tweet was pretty much people getting mad about supposedly pushing a social agenda. It's like, bitch, have you ever even read a comic book? Where the fuck have you been?
Yeah.
X-Men is an allegory for racism.
Yeah.
The Punisher wasn't pro-gun. He was anti-government.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many examples, and yet you have all these like conservative nerds who are trying to be like, not my Marvel. And it's like, no, this is the way Marvel's been forever. Like, this is not something new, but they're trying to act like this is Hollywood. This is the radical liberal Randy Murdoch. This is like radical ideas being put into it just for the sake of being woke. It's like, no, it's been this way forever. So anyways, go on. I'm sorry.
But building more into the world and really seeing how much of a dick John Walker is, I was like, okay, that's where we're going. And then you see that even more in 3. But I have a theory. I think that Sharon Carter is the power broker.
Interesting. Okay.
Because she's being real shady.
I did hear from a reliable source that girls do get it done.
Cool. Yeah. No, she's in a weird spot because I don't know if they've confirmed it, but I feel like she did not get blipped. You think,
Yeah,
right?
I don't think she did because she basically has been. I mean, the way she made it sound like that she's been living here for years now because of her helping them out, essentially.
Yeah. So 5 years is enough time to establish power. And we see that she has her hands in the cookie jar.
Oh yeah,
It has some kind of power over there. And then, the whole thing with taking her to that could have very easily been a pawn in her game as far as, it's okay, I'll introduce you. When Zemo kills the lab, there's like, what are you doing? There's like the freak out, which would generally make sense, but also not as much if it's just some random person. Like she doesn't really care about logistical boundaries going through the government, going through the law. So like, why was she like, what are you doing? And so I don't know. I don't want that to be the case because I feel like that is kind of obvious.
yeah.
But man, how much Zemo was in this episode was really impressive, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely didn't make him a side character or anything like that. I feel like
it's still ambiguous as far as like, is he bad or is he bad?
Yeah, I do like it makes sense because especially if we go off of what we know of him from Civil War, like it makes sense that he's working with them. He's obviously very reluctant or whatever, but it does make sense because the whole point of Civil War, which at first we thought he wanted the super soldiers, but it turns out no, he wanted to destroy them. So now having him on the team, and he actually is somewhat of a good guy, but he's like the anti-hero of this. He's clearly gonna double cross them. He's clearly gonna whatever, which going back to him killing the one guy who does the serum makes perfect sense. He's not doing it for his he is doing it for his self-interest. He's not doing it to, I guess, fuck with Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
He's doing it because that's why he agreed to help him, is because he wants to get rid of the super serum. So it's like, okay, that makes perfect sense. It's not out of character, but then he still helps them because he knows there's still serum out there. So instead of him killing him and then just running, which is definitely what I would have thought at first, it makes sense.
That's what I thought he was doing.
Right?
I also like how they handled the whole thing with the serum. And how with Captain America, with the first one, obviously it's a different kind of tone. We get that. Like Marvel has changed. It wasn't like that. But I mean, they make this big deal about, it's the super soldier serum, this thing. And what they have managed to do, and he even says it, he's like, I wanted to take that, but make it more compact and simple. Like, it's not going to be like a dramatic increase as far as like, you're not going to get huge. You're not going to get, it's not going to be abnormal. Like you're a normal ass person, but you just have super strength. So it's almost a good and a bad thing in a way, as far as what they're doing with kind of more normalizing what would be the super soldier serum. But I was expecting more of a specific answer as far as why the super soldier, like a more kind of typical Marvel lead up, like, who is this person? I was saying while you were gone, in the first Captain America, they make a big deal about the super soldier serum, like it's this thing. And I like how what they're doing here is basically normalizing it. And even the guy was like, I'm going to synthesize it and make it is not noticeable. It's like, it's a much larger threat. Like it's kind of similar to the VOT thing.
Yes.
With so that's one thing I am really enjoying, is them continuing to basically build out this other world.
Yeah.
In our own.
Yeah.
It's a great mirror.
I also do like how we've never liked Walker. I mean, from the very moment that we saw him, and he looks so weird. Like they picked the perfect angle to shoot him at, where his face just looked almost like scrunched. It looks so weird in the mask or whatever. And this whole time it's like, yeah, we don't really like him or whatever. I mean, even from the very beginning, it's like this seems like a guy, and if the comics have anything to do with it, this seems like a guy who has every potential to just snap. And so now we have in this episode where he literally says, you know, if we get the job done, they're not going to worry about how. And I'm like, wow, that took fucking long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or that didn't take long for him to just be like, yeah, fuck the government. I am the government. I mean, even in episode 2, he's like, yeah, he's fully pardoned, doesn't have to go to therapy anymore. Under whose authority? He's like, mine. And it's just like what's the saying?
Please don't tell me you're forgetting the spider. With great power.
No, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Oh, okay. I was going to get on to you for that.
So he is this top tier guy, and everybody will essentially do what he wants.
That part at the beginning irked me whenever he was like, "Do you know who I am?" And it's like, that's not who Captain America is.
Right? Exactly. He doesn't like, oh, do you know my name? Like, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so, yeah, he's going to snap. There are some theories saying that, like, he's the power broker, and
I don't think that's...
I don't know. I mean, I could see it, but... Because, I mean, he did show up during the whole, like, highway chase. And then at the very end of that episode, that was the power broker texting her, "Hey, you have something I need. I'm going to find you and kill you," or whatever. So it's like, okay, I can see the threads or whatever, but it's like I don't know. I could see more the power broker, like, recruiting him rather than him being the main villain or whatever.
Here's a random Easter egg question.
Okay.
Did they give the location for where Ronan was in Endgame, or could that have been Mid's Pooper? Whatever the place was called. Mingapore, whatever the
right.
Whatever it's called in the thing. I feel like they did give a location in the movie, like this is where he's at, but the locale looked very similar.
So who again? I'm sorry.
Hawkeye.
Oh,
Ronan.
that's right. Duh. Yeah. So you're talking about the one scene where he's like cutting down that one guy, and then Scarlett Johansson shows up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that is it. You know what I mean? Mangarang. Bangarang! So anyways, yeah. I like that we're continuing.
Oh, it shows he was in Japan.
I like that we're continuing an upward trajectory. This definitely, like, even though one might have been somewhat of a slow burn or whatever, I do like how it's pretty much, it's staying consistent and it's staying, like, high quality. So it's like, it just makes me want to keep going on and watching more. So, yeah, not a bad thing. Speaking of bad things, we're going to take a break.
Sure.
We'll take a quick break here, and we'll be right back in just a little bit.
Well, I don't want to lose what's left, so I cross an icy lake with my head hung down and my tail between my legs. Ever since the winter came, we've been at it again. We burn the bridges between our friends, and we keep spinning round these games. Your modernist, artistic loneliness, and your bruised heart chalked all up to self-defense keeps us spinning round I cross an icy lake, with my head hung down and my tail between my legs. These games, these games, these
I wrote this shit at 2 a.m. I put this all on mama just like 2 a.m.s. Friends talk behind my back, but fuck I do to them. Had to take this shit back to where it all began. Off of Grand Ave, a bedroom up there on Lincoln Ave. Back when I was still penning that I missed my dad. Thinking if I died, I'd put my brain up in the Louvre. Scientists baffled, how a white boy that smooth. Suede shoes on a Persian carpet. The shooter and a target. Did everything wholehearted. Then like a farmer's market, I put it all on the stand. Back when I shared a classroom with Chantel and Lorraine. Back when I shared a locker with Kareem, then life was so serene. Then Dante's mom adopted me, an orphan with no apology. These February moments, March memories, happy-go-lucky, but with suicidal tendencies. There's a girl from my town I want to date, I just need to address. I can't bring you to my world cause my life is a mess. Plus I'm grinding night and day, trying to be the best. Just know I got the key for the tattoo that's on your chest, Lord. Oh, wise one at 24. I had to risk it all and then a little more. Early 20s, life done put me in a figure 4. Who would've figured I'd become a father without fucking raw? Where were you when I had the clips with the black bumper? Or when I sold my Stang and had no whip the whole summer? Or how about when the bank came and tried to take my house? I'm not the same Brian, bitch, watch your mouth. Don't address me as a rapper, but a preacher with beats. A scholar with a scroll, carving joy in the streets. They bump me in the shower and when the family eats. Same ones weeping at my wake, the ones who calling us freaks. Now we live in an era where your phones become an organ. When I die, have Billy Joel up on the organ. Yeah, the coldest white boy you know. Mom used to say that I was too messy, but now I'm known for spilling my soul. It's crazy. At the intersection of forgotten and famous, the nicest and nameless. Without Carter, I'm brainless. Yeah, few times I contemplated killing myself. Deep pains in my stomach, I would fear for my health. But then I think back to times that we go out to lunch at China King. Back when I was too shy to try this rhyming thing. I used to play with Pokemon, but now I get my flowing on. Still going strong out here palming trees like it's Boca Raton on my TV. P.D. Pablo trying to live like that. Chingy rocking chains and hoes when he raps. Daydreaming about stages, ducking minimum wages to the newest crazes. Me, all white and E. I used to be Peter Parker, then I turned into Venom. All black lungs, yeah, it's matching my denim. Yo, Aiden, remember that time we went from Burford back to Plaza? Telling stories, kicking rocks, joking, smoking, ha-ha. We could've took dust and I wasn't flossing, had a little cheddar. For some reason, an hour walk just seemed a little better. Or what about we went to that spot on DeMott? Me, you, Ian, and Fox, rolling up, ducking cops. Mom's bugging, I don't speak, lecturing me about pot. Reminiscing about those missions, damn, I missed that a lot. I lost a lot of friends, spending time with pads and pens. Sitting in my pad, working toward these bigger pads and ends. But if you struggle how I struggle, you would understand. This what happens when a child star becomes a man. This what happens when you find out what's important. Now my heart won't close, damn, I think it need a force quit. Somehow through all that bullshit, I didn't lose my mind, luckily. Shit, even older dudes is looking up to me. I had to realize every storm runs out of rain. A lot of shit brewing, same gun but different aim. See, I was raised in Baldwin, but nah, I won't die here. I got multi-million-dollar ideas and visions of everyone saying you did it, son. I don't watch too many shows because I lived in one. On my 26th season, still breathing, still eating, still party with my demons, still seeking, still raw paper reeking. Got the floorboards creaking, still fiending, still scheming, still trying to break even. Just a regular kid who had a dream. I want double XL in Time magazine. So sure of myself, I got this sand all over me. Soon as you hear that, you know it's me. Eastside. Fuck is up. Shot my boy Neek in Ohio too. I see you, boy. That's it.
Hey, ho, ho, ho.
Caw. We just talked about the Falcon.
Caw, toki toki.
Ha, toki toki.
Alrighty. Alright, so that's one nerdy thing out of the way. What are we going to get into next? Nothing of significance has happened in the last, couple weeks or whatever, so there couldn't possibly be something else comic book related to talk about. Shut up!
Nothing that lasts, a good solid 4 hours. I really can't think of anything that could even come close to any kind of that, some weird dude named Zach. He just fucking wants to put everything in slow motion,
10% my ass. There's a report that says
there's
10%.
There's so much more than
10% of that movie is in slow motion. Yeah, right. Okay, I did the math. That means 24 minutes is in slow mo, and all I have to say to that is only.
Yeah.
Only.
Yeah.
Here's a conversation I had with my wife. I genuinely want to have it with you, okay, and you, the audience, as well. Everybody weigh in on this. Does it count as slow motion when it's showing Flash going so fast that everything's slow?
Yes.
Does it, though? Really think about it.
I feel like it would.
I don't know. Because
That's slow
he's
motion
not
photography
going slow.
happening.
He's going fast.
Oh, get out of here with that. Get out of here. To the human eye, it's in slow mo.
Right.
It's slow mo cinematography. Jerk. I was there. It's like, no, it obviously is. That is the most pinnacle point of slow mo.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have both finished it finally now.
The Snyder Cut.
And we are coming at this with two different viewpoints, completely different.
Way different.
Nick has like most everyone's seen the original.
Yes.
This is my first ever viewing of anything Justice League.
Yeah. So normally, in a normal circumstance, we want to maybe end on a positive note. So that means I get to go first. Now, honestly, I do think this is something we discussed off camera, but I do think, like, I wonder in an alternate universe, spoilers, in an alternate universe, if I hadn't seen the original Justice League, would I have enjoyed the Zack Snyder cut? I genuinely don't know, because either way you put it, it's still a bad movie with some really good parts to it. You know what I mean? There's still a lot of good there, but it's overall just crap. The most perfect analogy is, you have this little itty bitty piece of crap on the floor. And instead of having that piece of crap being as small as it is, you instead smear it over the entirety of your apartment, and suddenly that's supposed to be better than having a small piece of poop? No, I don't agree. I don't agree with that. Overall, being able to compare the two, which is something you're not able to do because you're a fucking tool. But being able to compare the two objectively, it is better. Mm-hmm. It is better. But it's still plagued with convoluted, just over, like, in the Snyder Cut, everything's almost over-explained rather than being under-explained. Because that was the problem with the original, is that there were plenty of things that were under-explained or underdeveloped. Now they're over-explained and overly developed. The CG is freaking atrocious. I mean, and I'm sorry, I am going to compare this to Marvel, because when you look at a character like Thanos, who is a 100% CG villain, and then you look at Steppenwolf with all his little spiky thingies, and his face is so freaking dumb. I hate his stupid face. I wish I could be the one punching it, because it looks so freaking dumb, especially when he gets all sad. He's like, like, it looks so dumb. It didn't look awesome in the Justice League, but it didn't look this bad. It's like, I hate it. I hate how stupid his face look and how his emotions work and everything. It just looks so stupid. So once again, comparing Thanos to him, there is no comparison. Thanos, like, you can see the pores, and the pores, they stretch properly, and it looks so goddamn good, and the way the lighting works and everything working together. Thanos looks like he could be a real person. At no point during the entire 4 hours did I think to myself, oh my God, that's a real person with a prosthetic. Another really good example, I'll go to the Disneyverse. Davy Jones. Back when I was younger, I had no idea that it was 100% CG. Davy Jones and all the tentacles and everything, genuinely such good CG effects. And they even had like makeup around Bill Nye's eyes, just in case they couldn't quite get the eyes right. So they had to just CG the rest of them, but they got it so right that they didn't need it. And that is another character years before this movie that looks so much better than Steppenwolf. And then you have the parademons, and then you have the ungodly amount of either slow-mo or speed up. Like when Wonder Woman does her thing and she's like deflecting all the bullets, it looks so awesome. But it is ruined by the fact that it's such an obvious CG double. It is so obvious that it's not her. It's this weird CG thing that's just sped up to ×2. It looks horrible. Absolutely horrible. And things like that do kind of take me out of the experience. And like, should I expect it to be as much of a blockbuster? I mean, yeah, this was a blockbuster. It did come out in theaters. Granted, a lot of it got chopped, obviously. But
Obviously.
now they almost have less of an excuse. Because when they were trying to rush this out the door, they had months, literal months to just get this out the door and just kick it. Just hurry. Oh no, our director's off doing something else. Hurry, get another director in here. Hurry, 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 hurry. Whereas now they have no goddamn excuse because it's been 5 years, right? It's been a snap, Nate. It's been a snap. Anyways.
Almost. It's almost been a snap.
Point being is that it's been a while. So if they did the same thing and they literally just kicked it out the door, it's their own damn fault. They could have made this CG look so realistic. And so, because they had the time for all the processing, but they just didn't take the time to make any of the CG look convincing. Any of it. Not even, the thing is that so many movies have bad CG, but every once in a while, there'll be this like little glimpse of, oh wow, that's actually really good. No, none of it. None of it is good CG. None of it. Anyways, hold on, I'm not done with my negative yet. I think Batman was really worse in the Zack Snyder cut than he was in the Justice League. I feel like Batman had less to do. Yes, he got the team together. Yes, he was the benefactor. But I really feel like that's all he was. You know, at the end, he had his moment. He is able to go pew-pew at the aliens. But I really feel like there's so many shots of him just like standing and looking at everybody else doing shit. And it's just like, go team! Save money! So, that's another thing I just absolutely hate. I don't think they did him justice. And there's so many things. Let's get into some super spoilers right now. Why the fuck did we need Jared Leto's Joker? We got this alternate timeline, this alternate universe where we got to see that Aquaman's dead, Lois Lane is dead, which turns Superman bad, Deathstroke, which we literally in the previous scene just saw him wanting to go kill Batman, is now suddenly working with Batman. In concept, that's super awesome. It's like, ooh, a world where they have to work together instead of, that's really cool. But the fact that it was literally just like 1 or 2 scenes right before that one, and there's no reason for it. In Batman vs. Superman, love it or hate it, there is a reason for that dream. That dream was like convincing him that, yes, I'm doing the right thing by trying to take Superman down. That was his confirmation bias. It was, yes, okay, somebody went from a different dimension to tell me that Superman is the key. So that means I'm doing the right thing. I should go kill him. And even in this one, Cyborg touches the cube and he gets this really cool flash, this really cool look at the alternate universe. The alternate universe that we got at the end, which ended up being a fucking dream, but the alternate universe that we got at the end made no sense other than to set up a movie that we might not even fucking get. So it's just, now obviously he wanted to make his vision the way he wanted to make it. So even leaving in the parts that were to build up to a movie that he may or may not be able to make, it was in the original cut. So that's why he has it there. But that last one, we didn't need that. It could have been an after credits thing. We didn't need it. Now, it's the epilogue. Okay, whatever. But still, like, it was, It was
A better-
so unnecessary. So unnecessary.
A better, and I'll kind of piggyback because that was one of the ones. So like we had seen, we live in a society, that whole thing. We had seen that was basically going to show like the nightmare sequence from Batman versus Superman. So the entire time I'm sitting here thinking, how is this going to go? And I'm watching the movie, and mind you, I watched it in 2 sittings, basically. Not on purpose.
I think it took me like 4 sittings. No joke. That's how bored. That's how bored I was. I was bored to fucking tears. Anyways, go on.
So, while I'm watching it, it's at the end whenever Barry has to use his powers to basically go back in time to stop the mother box from the Unity from going through.
Right.
And when he was like, "Okay, I got to do it," I thought that's when the nightmare sequence was happening, and then it didn't, and I was like, "Okay." And then I was like, it's still not happening. And then it just happens randomly. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. I
think it would have been just as jarring to have it there because it's right at the climax. It's him, River. But I can see what you mean because even the part where Cyborg touches it and he sees the little nightmare universe or whatever, I almost think that they should have just done it there because it's just...
Yeah, definitely.
It's so out of place. And once again, I do believe it's because it's setting up the next movie, but it's so long. And that's what you could say about the whole fucking movie is that it's just so long.
Yeah.
It's so long for no reason other than this is my vision. And I don't know.
Well, so here's the thing with that. I have a lot of things to say on this. Let me start before I forget with the whole thing with the CGI. Mm-hmm. I think this is going to come down to an opinion 100% because I'm going to say an argument that you're going to fucking hate.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
I am comparing just in terms of visuals. This to me plays like a Breath of the Wild situation. In terms of, I think the whole thing with the CGI is a different art style. Like that's the way I see it. Because when it comes to what they've shown us in Batman versus Superman, they have visually shown that it's a different tone than Marvel. Marvel, even though it's fucking aliens and the big 3, aliens, wizards, and androids, or whatever he said.
Right.
It's still grounded. Like that's reality. That's New York. That's this. That's that. Like we can have that attachment, and that's what's so special about the Marvel. It's like it could happen in our world.
Right. Totally.
What they've shown with the DCEU, just across the board, has been a lot more fantastical, a lot more like and so the whole thing with Darkseid in particular, I could make that same thing as far as Darkseid. I think Darkseid looked fucking awesome first off, but he didn't look real. I will admit that. But that I think is the stylistic choice that they went with, is to make him look more comic accurate, which in my brain I can go, okay, I see the Zack Snyder cut as a big ass graphic novel, like an isolated thing. And again, my perspective is different because this is the first time I'm watching it all together.
Right.
But one thing going to pacing, again, it might be different because you've seen 2.5 hours of this already, and you saw an additional 2.5 sprinkled throughout the entire thing. I think this movie is objectively a better movie than Batman versus Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because the pacing of Batman versus Superman doesn't make a lot of sense. It really doesn't. And when I watched the Ultimate Edition, I could go, yes, that is, and maybe that's where we're at, because I did see the theatrical Batman versus Superman. I saw the extended and said, this is an objectively better movie. I don't think it needs to be 3 hours, though.
Right.
I remember making that statement. With this, and it could be just the expectation. I knew it was 4 hours, and I hadn't sat through it, but it was like, okay, I see this as an epic. Like in my head, went to when I used to watch the extended Lord of the Rings with my dad, where it's like, all right, buckle up, guys, we're going in.
Right. And see, that's the thing, is that the extended Lord of the Rings, the extended Watchmen, which was also Zack Snyder and also DC technically, I'm trying to think what else. Anything extended, there's nothing wrong with more of a movie that's good, but putting more of a movie that's bad is just more bad. And that's kind of my problem with the whole thing. I can remember almost every single scene, which also means that I can see that, okay, this I don't remember, so this must be extra. And there's so many things. Like a really good example is the whole scene with the Amazons. And he comes in, he attacks them, and then he gets the hell out of there, right?
I love that scene.
That whole scene was just an extended version of what we already saw. So a really good example would be when they're hitting the pillars to seal up the pyramid or whatever. There's a part where the lady, the mom, the main Amazon lady, whatever, gets caught up by one of the aliens and she can't escape. I'm pretty sure that's extra, because I think she goes to running and then they destroy the pillars and then she just slides under. I don't think the whole part with her getting grabbed and stopped or whatever, I don't even think that was in the original cut. So there's that. And then the whole thing right after that where they're on horseback, I recognize almost all of it, but I can definitely tell that there was just extra, swipes here and extra punches here. And then the one in the main room that the mother box is in, like that one was, there was just more. There was just a lot more to that. There was a lot more gore, which is
a lot more cyborg from my understanding.
Yeah, well, no, I'm just talking about one scene in particular.
Oh, okay.
We'll
gore.
Get to,
that's
we'll get
what
to,
surprised me.
We'll get to Cyborg when we're talking about positive things. Which we'll have to take a break and then we'll do positives. But yeah, and then there was more gore or whatever, which I guess we'll talk more about the gore and the positives as well, because I do count that as a positive. But yeah, there's just more. There's just more, and it took me so long. And maybe, once again, I am willing to admit that maybe if I never seen it like you did, I'd be okay with this. But since it's like I can remember everything, but it's really just more.
Was the Martian Manhunter stuff in the Justice League? None whatsoever?
Not.
Okay. So I do agree. Like, to finish off with the negatives, I do agree with you. The whole in a society scene would have been better as a post-credit. I think it would have been awesome, because that's a really cool teaser, because you're especially seeing that Flash in that suit. Like, that's connecting what happened. Like, they're telling the story that is going to happen.
Right.
But at the same time, I was not wrapped up in the Joker's monologue until the back and forth with him and Batman started. Like, the only part of that conversation I really enjoyed was whenever Batman hit back and was talking about Harley Quinn. And it's like that part where he was like, "Oh, trust me, I will fucking kill you." Like, I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, I'm like enraptured. I'm like,
"Yeah,
this is getting good." But that's about it. Like, it's cool that he was in there, but what was the purpose of him being in there?
Yeah, it was just fan service, which is weird, because I think the Jared
Maybe
Leto
giving you
thing,
a better, yeah.
I think the Jared Leto thing is one of the few reshoots that they did, and it's like that's what you decided to go with. Like, I don't know. Jared Leto was never like anyone's favorite freaking. Well, I'm sure there's one weird like Air fanatic that just loves Jared Leto's Joker or whatever, or even just Jared Leto fanatic.
I like Jared Leto's Joker for what it is in a vacuum. I would like to see if there, and we know there is an air cut.
Are you making a joke that it sucks? Vacuum.
I cannot confirm
it.
But
yeah,
definitely do have some positives though.
There is some positives. We'll get into the positives after we get to another music break here. And there's definitely some good ones. I'm not going to completely shit on it. Now that I got it out of the way, I can get a little bit more positive and tell you what I actually enjoyed about it. So let's get into that next.
Moderation can be a fatal thing.
We need exposure for soldiers in and up homeless. I notice we got a POTUS that never think that he owe us. The feeling of being hopeless. I focus, here go my opus, the dopest. Before I wrote this, I might be a Mike Moses. God willing, I'll make $1 million. Don't see a ceiling in $1 billion, $1 trillion. The money so appealing. I'm feeling, I'm tired billing. I'm working while you be chilling. I'm killing, willing, and dealing to save it for all my children. Use Twitter to speak. We saw the players take a knee and the fans would leave seats. And the news is full of leaks and the Weinstein is a freak and he treated women like meat and the shame is cutting deep. All capital, stay wanting collateral, compatible to live with these lies. I won't be after you, adaptable to blow any moment. It's more than practical, it's factual. The city, these haters loving the ridicule. Too many guns in the schools while the president is on a vacation with ocean views. Tax money abuse, couple of interviews, harassment's on the rise. Surprised that it was you. I took a breather for a moment, I'm sizing up the opponent. I own it, homie, you know it, a poet, soon to be stoic. I'm witty, hella heroic, my drive feeling ferocious. I'm never stopping, so quote it, yes. Sick of rappers saying nothing, they mumble a little something. The bass lines are bumping, the ad-libs are better than verses. In the discussion, I'm hard without the cussing my love, cause by the dozen. Russia got us in a bind, we tried drumming the line, but Trump said never mind. His election was a joke or a hoax of the third kind. For men afford the gate, y'all doing some hard times. I'm lost in all the topics. Life is like the comics, good and evil prophets generating the profits. Man, it's all logic. Dreams to see in Africa looking like it's the tropics. I'm out of my mind, always on time. I deliver these lines like I'm riding on a wave, okay, okay. Don't tell me to stop it, I'll be changing the topic. I'm out of my mind, always on time. I deliver these lines like I'm riding on a wave, okay, okay. Don't tell me to stop it, I'll be changing the topic. I'm losing my mind, losing my mind, losing my mind, trying to show you. I'm here for another but the truth. Losing my mind, losing my mind, losing my mind to show you. I'm here for another but the truth. I'm out of my mind, always on time. I deliver these lines like I'm riding on a wave, okay, okay. Don't tell me to stop it, I'll be changing the topic. I'm out of my mind, always on time. I deliver these lines like I'm riding on a wave, okay, okay. Don't tell me to stop it, I'll be changing the topic.
Things could always be worse. I remind myself of this often. When I'm coughing, when I'm sick, when I'm hurt, I get my ass out of bed, meditate the crime out my head. There is no time to pretend. This life I came to end, so I should enjoy the time I have. I implore my best and then when I feel lost, when I feel down, I know it's all cost to pay for another round. Wanna keep myself clean, wanna be the best that I could be. Cause the children, they keep growing, and I've been knowing that my responsibility is serious. I'm undelirious about the sphere of trust given to us, called Earth. It's worth straight gold, and in her life, we ain't old. We should respect the truth that has been told, that she has been bent in half, and we must open the fold. Advantage of each other and of the earth. And now as our brains begin to evolve, I wonder if we will all realize what this is worth. Will we solve the equation of Earth? I say yes, it only makes sense beyond cents and dollars. Back to the beat makers and potters, back to the origins of our fathers of freedoms. Not legions but tribes, not heathens but scribes, not Siemens but wives of the universe. In a soothing verse they will curse. They will unveil the nurse. The owl's message is new, not of ending, but a proof that we are the attending who recoup all the lost in the groove. Those pushed down by untruth, those who haven't gotten what they're due. This song right here, well, this one's for you. And it's alright, and it's okay. We will figure it out anyway. And it's alright, and it's okay. We will figure it out anyway, anyway. You need to know that you are divine. You need to know that now is your time and nothing can stop you now. Nothing can stop you now. And it's alright, and it's okay. We will figure it out anyway. And it's alright, and it's okay. We will figure it out anyway, Now is your time. Figure it out anyway.
Hello. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Nick and Nate Show. We're going to talk a little positives. About the Snyder Cut. Are we ready for the positives? Little
don't know, are you?
negative
'Cause I'm gonna
Nicky
come out
over
pretty
here.
hot.
Being a little too nitpicky. Maybe a little too cynical, if you will.
Cynical.
So
Cynical.
I felt like I was talking a lot. So why don't you start us off with the positives while I scarf down some panda?
Panda. So yeah, I'm gonna come at this pretty positive in general, just based on the fact, again, like we've said before, this is my first viewing. Honestly, one of the biggest takeaways I have, I can agree with you on Batman. Thinking back on it now, it's like Batman really didn't do a lot in this compared to Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, definitely.
But I really, really enjoyed Ezra Miller's Flash. I really, really did. Like, I was looking forward to seeing his, because I mean, we had been seeing Grant Gustin's for years at this point. So I was excited to see a different one. But I just didn't want to see the Justice League.
Series. That's the series, right?
Yeah, Grant Gustin is the series Flash.
Yeah. So you say you like this over him?
I don't know. It's a different Flash, but I appreciate this interpretation of the Flash. Because for all intents and purposes, Grant Gustin has been my live action Flash, just because that's the one that I really saw for the first time, not John Wesley Ships. So that's kind of like, oh, okay, that's my Barry Allen. That's my Flash. Like, that's what I understand. And so seeing this, it's like seeing him kind of be just a kid and really not have a life together, even more so than the one in the show, but also just Ezra Miller's just interpretation of Barry Allen and the Flash. Like, I really enjoyed the I think the powers too are the biggest thing. I will say he does run really fucking funny. Like, I don't like this shit, like that kind of gets me. That kind of got me after a while.
Yeah.
But the whole thing of, it's not that he's fast. He can manipulate this. He straight up says, I can manipulate the Speed Force to make it seem like it's like, okay, it's a different interpretation.
Right. Now, if I can, sorry, I know we're supposed to be staying positive, but can I just mention one last negative thing? And this has to do with media in general rather than just Flash. But can we stop putting creepy people on a pedestal? Barry Allen's a creeper. He's like staring at this girl, and then he goes to save her, and he doesn't just, save her. He has to like caress her fucking face and stuff. It's creepy. And yet we love him because he's the hero, and he he's just quirky.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Epstein was pretty quirky, or Weinstein was pretty quirky.
All right,
So
all
that's
right,
all.
all right, all right.
That's
Yeah,
all. Can
yeah,
we just stop
yeah.
putting people on pedestals? David Dobrik's probably a pretty quirky guy too, eh? Hey. Anyway, go on.
But yeah, I think, like I said before, that this is an objectively better movie than Batman versus Superman, because even though it's 4 hours long, it feels well paced, to me at least, in terms of, I like how they have it set up where it's like part 1, part 2, part 3. Like they are, that does help, because it's like, all right, we're watching this new segment. We know we're getting into this. Here's a small kind of gripe or complaint that I have. I was really hoping that we would see the costume again, that we would see Robin's costume, especially because he brought it up at the end. Like, that would have been nice to see, to have that reminder, because we know what he's talking about, and that was a cool scene of that. That was a cool part of that scene. But whenever all of them were in the fucking Batcave, why couldn't they just cut to that thing, like Cyborg looking at that, or someone looking at that and kind of wondering what that is? Like, that's just a small nitpick, or a nick pick, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hey, use that patent.
But to me, this is, like I said before, I see this as a graphic novel, like kind of an isolated thing. It feels like an epic, like it truly does. I see the scale of what they're doing here. I think Justice League is the world that Batman, the world that Zack Snyder wanted to. It's a continuation of the world he started to build in Batman versus Superman. Because Lex Luthor, for example, and that might have been in the first one. First time. That Lex Luthor is the one I want to see. I want to see Jesse Eisenberg play that Lex Luthor, because that didn't seem like a quirky kid like it did in Batman versus Superman. That seemed like someone who, like, he just, this reverence, like I could feel it. And then other characters, I guess that's the biggest takeaway from the Snyder Cut, is the characters. And kind of leading into that is where I feel like Cyborg, that's where he really got his best treatment as far as in the Snyder Cut. From what I've heard, I heard most of his shit got cut out in the Justice League. And that makes me sad, because I really like the job that Ray Fisher did. I really enjoyed this version of Cyborg. And keep in mind, one of my biggest character cyborgs I can relate to is obviously the one from the Teen Titans cartoon. Booyah! And so
Right.
seeing a more dark version of Vic, and actual true to character. Hey, my mom died in a car accident. I was body parts, and you put an alien cube to make me access and can be as smart as anything in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick nitpick. Can he manipulate fucking matter? What was that shit at the very end with the tape recorder?
I think because it's electrical, so therefore it's a computer or whatever. I think that's maybe their justification.
That one got me. I was like, did he get like mother box energy from the Unity, or?
I mean, that could be it too, because since he was made from the mother box, he can also manipulate matter. But I would imagine that it'd have to be like physical matter. Like, he can't just like create fire out of nothing. Matter. So I think maybe that's a good explanation.
Yeah. But having seen Justice League and this, like, go more into about Cyborg, because I won't be able to really.
I would have to, if I had to guess, I would say anywhere from 80 to 90% of Cyborg stuff was cut, because, like, before he actually kind of joins the team, really the only time you see him is the conversation with him and Wonder Woman. When they're on the street and he turns off all the lights and he flies in, which, by the way, he does not fly in the Justice League. He, like, walks in. I think he has his hoodie on and everything. Whereas this one, he just turns off all the lights so nobody can see him or whatever. So yeah, objectively, having more Cyborg and getting into his character and what makes him good, bad, and everything, that was a very good, pleasant surprise. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I have to agree with you as far as characters, other than the little bit of creep that was Barry Allen. Other than that, like all the characters, I do feel like it's what pulled me through. You know, it's what was interesting about it. And then as soon as anything with Steppenwolf started happening, total bore.
See, Steppenwolf didn't bother me at all. Like he really didn't. I mean, I could get the goofy look of him, like especially when he ripped his fucking horn off, which that is a positive. I like how gory this was. I like how this was R-rated. You know, there F-bombs in it, which is it's just cool to see in a superhero, especially when you see Batman say, "I will fucking kill you" to the Joker. That's cool. Right. I don't really care what you say. That's cool to see that.
Right.
But also like I'd heard people complaining about the brutality that Steppenwolf had against the Amazons in that scene.
Yeah.
But holy shit, dude, that was an awesome fucking scene.
Yeah.
And not even
nothing
the part
compared
in the pillar,
to. Sorry, go ahead.
Not even in the pillar. Like my favorite part was whenever they were on the chase, because that was like dramatic and that felt badass. I think that was the moment where I was like, okay, like I'm invested, I'm paying attention, because the scene at the beginning was cool, like with Wonder Woman, seeing her from the last movie I saw, first Wonder Woman I didn't really care for. But seeing that, I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this is fucking cool.
Yeah. And I mean, when he fights the Atlanteans too, like he straight up cuts one guy in half or whatever, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like I'm like, damn, dude, look at that guy. You just got cut in half.
Motherfucking William Dafoe.
You got split in twine. Yeah, Willem Dafoe wasn't even in the original one, which I don't know if it because he wasn't technically cast at the time. Like I don't know. I don't know, because Aquaman was obviously after Justice League. It's even set after Justice League. So yeah, I don't know. But the characters, they're really good. I feel like for the most part, you know, they're very well. What's the word I'm looking for? They're very well developed. You know, they're very well developed. Like I said, the only negative was Batman. You know, and I guess
he really just fucking stood there.
Yeah, and I guess maybe since we have a whole nother movie with him, it's slightly better, because I do feel like Cyborg and Barry Allen have a little bit more of a focus, at least on their like backstories, because we haven't seen them yet. And even maybe a little bit of Aquaman, but not as much. But still, those two people who we don't have solo movies to, we get a little bit more into their backstory because we don't have anything to pull from. And so I kind of really like that. I love the brutality. Yeah, that's another positive for me, as far as like I like it because it seems comic booky. You know, comic books, it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter. They're kind of for all ages. You know, you could say, oh, comic books are for, you know, nerdy 12-year-olds. It's like, yeah, but some of them can be damn brutal.
And that goes back to the whole graphic novel feeling nature of this. So let me ask you a question overall about the Snyder Cut. If they were to continue the Snyderverse, do you think that would make this a better movie? Yeah, I guess. Because I feel like one of the things that plague it, as far as if you're analyzing it as a movie as a whole, is a lot of the set. Like, prime example, if there wasn't going to be anything else, Martian Manhunter doesn't need to be in this movie. Exactly. I can understand him being in Joker, this to set up. To set up the next one, the next Justice League 2. But yeah, Martian Manhunter doesn't need to be here. Joker doesn't need to be here. Deathstroke and Lex Luthor obviously don't need to be here. Yeah, there's so many. Well, they were there in the original, weren't they? They were, yes. That little scene on the boat was verbatim, so apparently that wasn't what Joss decided to, fuck up or whatever. Which, but from what I understood, was so cool. The entire ending where Barry turns back time, that wasn't in the Justice League. And I'm like, fucking why, dude? Why in God's name would you cut that out? That does not make any freaking sense at all. No, it doesn't, because that's giving us what that does is two things. It shows us the actual power that Barry has instead of being able just to manipulate time, but it also sets up specifically probably what would be the Flash movie, which is fucking Flashpoint. Yep. Basically showing, hey, Barry can do this, and it's one of those, hey, I could do it again, and then he fucks it up. So I can agree with that. I feel like that is a big plague of the movie, is that fact of it has a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense in the context of what it was supposed to be,
right.
but not anymore. And I do feel like we are going to get a continuation. I feel like so I don't think we really know what's going on with DC. Did you see that thing about Robert Pattinson's Batman?
Yeah, what about it?
So they have now confirmed that he is Earth 2 Batman.
Interesting. Okay.
So I saw that and immediately was like, okay, that's cool, because that answers the question of why are you giving us a different Batman movie?
Right.
So they're obviously got the gears turning as far as some of the ideas that they have. And obviously we have Suicide Squad coming out with James Gunn coming out later this year, which still looks phenomenal.
Right.
Can't wait for that. I feel like the outcry is going to be, I feel like it could be enough. Because he set up some really cool points, and I really like the rhythm of where it was going. What I said before, Batman versus Superman, even the Ultimate Edition, felt like a rush project. It did. There was a lot of shit that didn't really make sense. Some choices that I probably wouldn't have made. But this feels like, oh, this is the universe that I built. Let me continue upon that and show what I want to do. Because you can, like, a lot of that stuff with even Lex Luthor and even Deathstroke, I think that is a cool ending, because it gives us like, oh, like working up to something. The fact that we were going to get a fucking Batman movie with Deathstroke and Batman fighting is like, that's cool.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
And so I think that this uniquely is its own thing, and it will stay that way. But if there's enough power behind it and people that want it, I think we could get something, because we've never got anything like this before.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. I mean, especially something 4 hours long or whatever. Even the extended version of Return of the King only went up to like a 3.5 hour or 3.
Yeah, it was 3. It was either 3.5 or close to 4. I think Return of the King
was close to 4, but yeah, anyways. I mean, it's so hard to distinguish, because once again, having seen both, it is super hard. It's hard to distinguish. All I can say in closing, all I can say is that it is objectively a better movie, but I don't think it's a masterpiece in the more traditional sense of the word. It is a masterpiece in the What? Sorry.
Masterpiece in terms of how it came about, like that this exists.
It's a masterpiece in the fact of it is like a magnum opus. Okay, it is a magnum opus of Zack Snyder and his style and his storytelling and everything like that. It is his magnum opus, and it is epic, and it is somewhat of a masterpiece if you're only paying attention to, DC and not just, I won't even bring Marvel into this. I'll just say just any other kind of property out there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's a masterpiece that holds up to the greatest of the greats, but it's a masterpiece in the sense of DC and
they're able to do that in a unique way too. The last real criticism I had, because I just thought about it, comparing Thanos and Darkseid, they're the same character for all intents and purposes.
Darkseid and Thanos are the same character.
What did I say?
You said
Thanos and Darkseid.
Oh, I thought you said what's his face?
Steppenwolf? No, I said Thanos and Darkseid.
No, okay, no. You are right. Okay, sorry, go on.
Yeah, they're the same character in terms of creation, but how it just kind of goes to show how good of a job Marvel has done setting him up. That the idea that a purple man from space collecting space rocks that were created by the universe and can snap people out of existence makes total sense, and we can rationalize, and oh my god, like that makes sense. But another guy that looks kind of similar, who wants to come to Earth for something called the anti-life equation, that is an equation that's burned onto the surface of the Earth, is like, Come again? What's that? Okay, like they're talking about that. I'm like, this is kind of dumb. This is kind of stupid, but it's like in the vacuum of DC, yes, I agree with you. Is it the best DCEU movie we've gotten? I don't think so whatsoever.
Really?
I mean, I can make an argument for it.
Yeah.
But I really fucking loved Birds of Prey. I think Birds of Prey. Yeah. I'm not going to compare it because it's two different types of
Birds
movies.
of Prey
One is obviously
is the Suicide Squad of DCEU.
No, fuck that. No, Birds of Prey is a good movie. What are you talking about?
It's a ridiculously mediocre movie.
Suicide Squad is a ridiculously mediocre movie.
It is a slightly enjoyabler movie than Suicide Squad.
Birds of Prey
saying that it's a better movie than Suicide Squad
it's not.
Is like saying that I filmed myself taking a shit for 2 hours and then I filmed Birds of Prey.
Okay, I like Birds of Prey better than Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, well, you're an idiot, so.
Come on, Ewan McGregor can do no wrong. Except getting blown up by a grenade. But anyway.
Digressions all around. All right, we're going to do one more quick music break here. Now is your chance. If you're in the chat, if you can think of one, we want a couple of like would you rathers. Let's do some nerdy would you rathers to round off the show today. And then there was none. And then there were two, but now there were no.
Suddenly, I took the train. Suddenly, I grew old again. I believe I escaped the rain when suddenly I grew old again. It seems so vacant on the top floor. Spare me a room. Bite me a piece off the groom. Don't be shy, boy. Don't be shy, boy. Free me, Florida. Don't be shy, boy. Don't be shy, boy. Don't be shy, boy. Free
Let's hit the hills up on the west side. We the plug, we don't ever wait in line. It be the crew on swag every night. So don't bother us, don't bother us. You and I won't ever be alike. We fly as fuck, always in another ride. I get the late night call, got me like, hey. So don't bother us, don't bother us. Thought I would've made it by now, the time ticking, I'm falling off balance with New Balance on, yeah. 990 gray, Jack Carlos, 2 stacks out a bottle. This LA, grab a model, Roxanne, yeah. Out of pocket with tags still in my clothes. Don't jump the gun when you're not committed. Gripping 91, baby, got the panga to come along. Tamagotchi and beanie, baby, yeah, well done, love. Miles away from home, I can see from afar. People be hating on me, the goody, like I don't mind. So fabricated with no relation to real life. I'm done playing with y'all, I'ma do Let's what I want. Let's hit the hills up on the west side. We the plug, we don't ever wait in line. It be the crew on swag every night. So don't bother us, don't bother us. You and I won't ever be alike. We fly as fuck, always in another ride. I get the late night call, got me like, hey. So don't bother us, don't bother us.
You know once I start, there ain't no stopping. If we steppin' out, you know it's time to get it poppin'. I stay flexing on them, turning heads, I'm jaws dropping. If you come around me, don't talk game unless you bout it. Don't be a hater, they just in the way, nah. You ain't nothing like me, it's a shame, You should probably just stay in lane, Get your feelings hurt, you just a lame, I'm so sorry that you don't got it. Matter of fact, I see why you bothered. I'm hanging on my chain, all diamonds. Couple flight overnight in designer fly.
Let's hit the hills up on the west side. We the plug, we don't ever wait in line. It be the crew on swag every night. So don't bother us, don't bother us. You and I won't ever be alike. We fly as fuck, always in another ride. I get the late night call, got me like, hey. So don't bother us, don't bother us.
Sipping down in the stool on the weekend. Clocking 5 years in LA, but I ain't vegan. Still the same baby, changing like the seasons. But now I make a couple K to show up at your events. Yeah. Don't need a like on the gram to get me gassed up. Booty out with a 10, I'm looking snatched up. That's so tight to your man, yeah, when I back up. Yeah, when I back up, homie gonna
Let's
act
hit
up.
the hills up on the west side. We the plug, we don't ever wait in line. It be the crew on swag every night. So don't bother us, don't bother us. You and I won't ever be alike. We fly as fuck, always in another ride. I get the late night call, got me like, hey. So don't bother us, don't bother us. Let's hit the hills up on the west side. We the plug, we don't ever wait in line. It be the crew on swag every night. So don't bother us, don't bother us. You and I won't ever be alike. We fly as fuck, always in another ride. I get the late night call, got me like, hey. So don't bother us, don't bother us.
Caw. Apparently, that's how we get back into it.
Caw.
All right. We're
I have
back
crippling
into it.
PTSD.
Oh, goodness.
I said good call like the Falcon Winter Soldier, crippling PTSD.
Okay. Anyways. All right. So it's the last segment of the day. We'd like to do something a little funner. So let's do some nerdy Would You Rather. Let's start it off with something a little bit more theme appropriate. Okay? You ready for this? Would you rather be fingered by Thanos or eaten out by Darkseid? I'm mainly referencing the fact that his chin is like fucking redonk. He just has this giant, like, square-ass jaw. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't...
I do.
Okay,
yeah.
like, it doesn't work if you don't know
Yes.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So what was Thanos doing? What was the other
He's
option?
fingering you, obviously. Come on. He's fingering you, obviously.
Okay. Here's the thing. I feel like at the end of the day, Thanos cares.
What? How?
He does. Like all of his motivations are like at least how they're portrayed in the MCU are from a philosophical betterment of like basically his methods are fucked up, but the moral of what he's getting at is for betterment of everything.
Okay.
Whereas Darkseid is this being who literally just wants to conquer everything and enslave everything. Instead of Thanos being like, hey, we're overpopulating. We need to help regulate. And also he just has more of a, not a caring demeanor, but it's like, I don't know. I feel safer with Thanos.
Goodness. I mean, either way, you have a tyrant that wants to take over the whole universe.
Or put
make
something
it
in a hole or,
Yeah, and make it to his... I mean, because if you think about Thanos, he's like, well, the snap didn't work, so now I'm just going to kill everybody and make it anew.
Everybody.
So, I mean, either way you're going, I just don't get your
See, instead of
thought
snapping
process.
instead of snapping away half the universe, he just fingers half the universe. Anyway, I feel like if like the movie interpretations of what we got of Darkseid and what we got of Thanos is more humanized. So it's kind of one of those.
I get it, but also he at the end of Endgame, he
What's
was
your
like,
answer?
"Fuck everything. I'm just gonna kill everybody and make a new universe." So your logic makes no sense
Well,
if
that's
you're
a
saying
different
that
Thanos.
he gives a shit.
I'm talking about Thanos from Infinity
I don't care. There's only one Thanos. There can
it's
be
a
only
different
one.
Thanos. No, it's a different Thanos because
Oh
I
my
mean
goodness.
it's an older one. But what's your answer?
It's hard to say. I feel like with a jaw like that, you could probably go for days. Versus fingers like that could also, those big old sausages. This is
Anyone
so
in the chat,
gross.
if you got a different would you rather, let's please go with a different would you rather.
So Josh from our YouTube has one. So would you like to be super clean and never have to shower, or super awake and never have to sleep?
Oh, super clean. Super clean. I like sleeping.
It's super cleany.
I don't want to. There's a reason why we're supposed to sleep for 8 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Long term, you don't have to sleep. I feel like that would drive you insane because everyone needs a minute of rest. Like,
Well, right, but what he's saying is that you don't ever have to sleep again. So you're so awake that you don't have to sleep.
but I don't like that. That's what I'm saying. It's like I like knowing. Okay, at the end of the day, I'm gonna have a reset. I'm going into the next day.
Okay.
I don't like the idea of staying. It's kind of like the idea of being immortal. Like everything around you, like you're alone in a sense. Like no one
Okay.
else is awake when you're awake at all times.
I mean, that's not entirely true. There's graveyard
You know what I'm
shifts.
saying? Shut the fuck up.
The service industry matters, okay? There's plenty of people up at midnight.
I would be just clean 100% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there's no downside to the super clean. You know what I mean? Like super clean and you never have to shower again, or super awake and you never have to sleep again. It's like there's no downside to being super clean, but there is a downside to being super awake because, like you point out, 24 hours a day, trying to figure out what I'm going to do for 24 hours a day every single day, it can definitely be torture. Like just like Josh says in the YouTube chat, it could be torture because 24 hours a day. Whereas now, at most, we have anywhere from 12 to 16 hours that we got to figure out what the fuck to do with our life, It's a little bit more manageable. We literally cut that number in half, you know what I mean? So 12 hours every day and whatnot just makes a lot more sense. So sorry, did I do something?
I was saying keep talking.
Oh, okay. So, and then and then there's also, but then if you look at it another way, but sometimes it's just you know.
See, I feel like whenever whenever you ask me to do this, I can actually formulate and actually talk.
I know
to the people
that was on purpose. Thank you very much. Yes, I can formulate a sentence.
You're like, I did one time at back camp.
Okay, all right. So that was my would you rather. We got one from the chat.
God.
So now we need one from you.
Let's go back to Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Okay,
Let's do
okay.
this.
Or it could be video game. What video game have you? We didn't even get to do what have you been playing because we had so much nerdy stuff. But like, is there a game you can play or you were playing? You got a would you rather from that?
Yeah, I mean, it would be Walking Dead related because I've just really been playing the VR a lot. That song is stuck in my head.
Here's a really deep one. This actually, I thought of this last night. So sorry, you said zombies and it made me think of it. So here's a really hard one. Would you rather? How do I put this without sounding like a fucking madman? Okay, so basically the premise is there's a chance that you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
So would you kill your own kid because they're going to cry and they're going to, give your spot away to passing zombies or something? Would you kill your own kid if it meant surviving because you could have kids later, or would you chance it? And I guess.
So hold on.
That's not.
I think. I know
hold
what
on,
you're
hold
after.
on. That's not the right one. That's not the right one. What I was gonna say is that would you give your life up for your kid, or would you kill them to get away? Now here's the premise. The premise basically is obviously if I kill the kid and I'm able to get away or something, then I can have another kid. Whereas if I die, there's almost a really good chance my kid's gonna die anyways. And not only are they gonna die, they're gonna die alone and scared and where's my mommy kind of thing. So would you rather kill your kid so that they don't have to suffer through that, or you let yourself be eaten or something like that? That was the premise. I got confused on the way to put it, so I ended up going down a different route anyway. So yeah, that's the premise.
So are you saying would you rather have your child live with you through a zombie apocalypse, or kill them to save them and eventually have kids later once everything is calmed down?
No. I'm saying you're in some type of a situation, whether it be a zombie right outside the door or something. You're in some type of a situation that you have to choose between your kid or you.
Ooh.
So
okay.
It has to be one or the other, because you either escape or you let yourself get killed and they escape. But like I said, if they escape, they don't know how to get their own food. They don't know but they're still alive. They could find out how to get their own food. They could sneak around and not get discovered by zombies. But then they could also die an extremely painful death without their mommy anywhere nearby or their daddy anywhere. So that's kind of the premise. I was randomly thinking about that, and I'm like, oh god. Which I do
see. Honestly, I feel like I'm still leaning more, and I'm going to ask you a question because you're an actual parent. I would lean more towards having myself be eaten.
Yeah.
Because let's say you put yourself in that situation,
Mm-hmm.
would you be able to wrestle with the fact that to have that thought potentially of you could have done something?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, luckily, both of my kids are small enough where I could just like throw them on my back and then run like hell or whatever. But like if it was if it was some kind of weird moment where I literally had to choose between them and me, I'd almost go right down the middle and just have us both die, because just imagining like Zoe-Ann, she's 5. She could, to a certain extent, try to figure out how she's going to get food. Mm-hmm. But like if I died and the whole world was all fucked up. I don't think she could think to herself, okay, I'm going to go down to Walmart, I'm going to get myself some food, and I'm going to nourish myself. Not only that, but how do I get to Walmart? How many zombies are in between here and Walmart? You know, so many things. So like me, I'd almost have to just go right down the middle and like kill us both, because if I was stuck in a situation there was absolutely no escape.
Yeah, 100%. If there's no escape, like if it's I've got 2 bullets.
It's weird. It's a weird premise, but basically it's either you or your kid. It's like I think I would just kill us both, because it's just
100%.
I don't know if I could. But at the same time, that's what makes it so hard. It's like she could figure it out. She could, end up surviving, and therefore she grows up and gets married and in a weird post-apocalyptic. She could do that if it meant me sacrificing myself. But at the same time, maybe she couldn't. Maybe she would make it literally 2 feet and then die. But now she has to die without me or without Ashley or something. It's like, it's such a hard one that I would have to go down the middle, because it's just like I can't imagine either way, because I definitely couldn't imagine like snuffing out her life, like not in a million fucking years.
Yeah.
It would be one of those situations where like maybe I could start and then I'm like, nope. I can't do this.
Yeah.
Fuck it. We're both going.
Yeah.
So
that went down a dark place there.
You said zombies. It's all your fault. Lycan Gamer in the chat says, on the Twitch chat, says, buy Outriders or replace my missing Overwatch game. You decide.
Outriders
for sure.
Well,
let's put it. Let's put it this way. Outriders is new. New is always better. No, I'm just kidding.
That's exactly how that works.
I mean, like, I think it also depends. If you are a big, team shooter kind of guy, yeah, I guess. But even then,
it's whatever you're in the mood for.
But even then, like, if you like shooters, if you like looter shooters, like a Destiny, like a Division or whatever, Outriders is definitely going to scratch that itch. It's going to scratch it raw.
Or if you're wanting more
red,
team,
there's going to be skin missing. You're going to go so deep that there will be pus. Okay. So it's going to scratch that itch.
It depends on what mood you're in, because if you're in the mood for a multiplayer, like kind of wave-based competitive thing, like go for Overwatch. But if you're in the mood for something, because with Outriders,
I'll tell you what, just play Paladins. It's a free version of Overwatch.
Well, with Outriders, it is definitely a single-player game in a co-op setting. It's not a live service as far as Destiny.
I don't know, because I feel like there's definitely a lot of.
It's instead of an MMO, it's a co-op RPG.
Well, yeah, you said it was a single player in a co-op world. So I was just disagreeing with that, because I do believe that the way the powers can like interact with each other or whatever are like really cool. And
well, it's not multiplayer is a core aspect, but not multiplayer in the sense of Overwatch.
Oh,
like
gotcha. Yeah, okay. That's what you meant. Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I freaking love it. I got this new piece of equipment that, my big one that like I stop all the bullets in front of me. So now I ricochet bullets back to them, but I can receive 50% damage, but I can be attacking the whole time. So I can keep moving and I can keep attacking, versus when I do it normally, I have my hands out in front of me, and then they just keep shooting until the timer runs out, and then I shoot it back at them. So I'm not immobile, but I'm just sitting here like this. Whereas this one, it puts the thing in front of me, and then I can be like shooting them as their bullets are ricocheting off me. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And mind you, this is just a blue equipment. This isn't even purple or gold equipment or orange or whatever. So it's like, how much more intricate are the mods going to get? How much more intricate are the weapons going to get? Because this is just a blue motherfucker, and it's completely changing the way a skill works. 100% completely changing it. That is so mind-blowing that I can just... I can do something like that. Now, some of them are super simple, like, hey, you can use this 2 times now. You have 2 stock of this one thing. Super simple, right? But then there's other that literally change the way that skill works. I fucking love it. All right, in the chat, we got Outsiders, which I think you meant writers, okay? Strikes my fancy with the build you can make and items giving you buffs, where an Overwatch is just master techniques and outdo enemies, not really leveling up your characters. Yeah, exactly. The amount of customization in Outriders as well is freaking phenomenal, because I love crafting and mods, and min-maxing is like on adrenaline in this game. Anything that has a mod, I can scrap that, and now that mod that was on that gun is in my library. And so now by using, whatever currency or whatever, I can put that mod onto whatever gun I want or whatever. And so now it's no longer about like, what's that RPG from Destiny? It was like the Holy Grail or something like that. I can't remember.
Magna Carta, Holy Grail.
Something weird, something kind of holy. Well, let's call it the Holy RPG, just because I don't know what it's called. There's this Holy RPG in Destiny. Everybody wanted that Holy RPG. The only way to get that Holy RPG is to play a strike or play a raid over and over and over again, and you had like a 1% chance of rolling that Holy RPG. Now, you could get that Holy RPG, but then maybe the buffs that are attached to it, you don't like the buffs. So then you keep playing and playing and playing until you get that Holy RPG that has the right rolls on it. It has the right buffs or debuffs that you want. Whereas this one, you could get anything, and if you happen to have the mod that you really like, you just put it onto that gun itself, and now you have a way better way of like customizing your experience. So the Black Sniper, I don't know. I haven't played enough of. I just remember there's this big old Galahorn, maybe.
Galahorn, I bet that's what it is. Yeah. I bet it's Galahorn.
Yeah. I just remember that being like the big shit in
well, you kept saying RPG, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what? Wait, hold on. What RPG? Destiny is an RPG, and then I realized you meant rocket propelled grenade. I was like, oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, you
That
silly
makes more
man.
sense. Yeah.
So what was I saying? Oh, but yeah. So that's what I like about Outriders, is the fact that the equipment is really cool. Okay, let's talk about Outriders really quick. Okay, this will end it for us. I love Outriders so far. I'm having a really good time. I have literally never given less of a shit about a story than I have in this game. I could not care less. I don't give a rat's ass who this person is, what their plight is. I don't give a shit about the lore. I don't give a shit about the world. But I'm having so much fun that's what's pulling me through the game. Even Destiny, as ambiguous as its story was, as filled in the grimoires as it was, I still really enjoyed the lore of or the allure of Destiny and everything and its universe. And that pulled me through the game just as much as the gameplay, whereas this is literally just the gameplay. I do not care. Every time a cutscene comes up, especially a cutscene that just shows me jumping across a ravine or opening a fucking door just to go to a fucking loading screen, I don't need a cutscene for that. It doesn't make sense.
It kind of makes me think about like a trademark of People Can Fly games. And I don't know if that's exactly fair, but like you can think Bulletstorm's kind of the same way. Bulletstorm is a fun game. Bulletstorm is so much fun. Story is ass. Story is it. I think it plays better than Gears of War. Like it's a first-person Gears of War.
Yeah.
And they just had to come up with a story, and it's not very good.
Right.
And I think that might because the gameplay and the gameplay loop is
right. And I'd even argue that its over-the-top nature and its bravado is actually part of its charm. Whereas now we kind of have a little bit of over the top. We kind of have like super edgelord type of commentary, and it's not working for it at all. Whereas I feel like that was part of its charm in Bulletstorm, that was part of its charm in Gears of War, and maybe it's just like it's been too many years, and now we're just sick of it. That could be part of it, but it's just like anything that's going on while there's a cutscene. Like I've genuinely tried every once in a while. Like, okay, there's this one. It's so fucking stupid. There's this one. You go through this. It's a side mission. You go through this big kind of battle arena. There's this little bridge. You defeat. There's a captain there, so he has a bunch of like cool powers and stuff that you have to defeat him. And then you go over here and you trigger a cutscene. The first time I went through it, I was so like done with cutscene that I didn't want to watch it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch it this time. So I watch it. I climb up this ravine. I see this big thing that just kind of walks across the screen. I go and help this one guy, which is actually an enemy, but he was hiding with one of my guys, and it's like, oh, okay, we were hiding together because we didn't want to die. I'm a good guy, please don't. So I helped the guy that I was there to help, and the guy that I was there to help kills the other guy and then throws a grenade and kills all the other people. And he's like, what? Did you expect me to boom, sniper headshot? That was the fucking cutscene. I literally went up there for nothing. And
yeah, that is aggravating.
To the point where it's like, well, I should have just fucking skipped it. That meant nothing. And the guy, the main character that you play as, even says, why do I even try? And I'm like, yeah, why do I even try with these fucking cutscenes? It's so fucking pointless. And there's so many other examples where, like, another one is it was the first side mission me and you did together, where we went through this whole, like, kind of market area, and we saved this one girl. Well, she ended up shooting the guy herself and then escaping. So why were we there?
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then the cutscene ends, and then we're done, and it gives us a little marker so we can fast travel back to the main area. And it's like, okay, like some of the like side quests in particular, they just kind of end with a stupid ass cutscene, and it's just like, that's what this was all building up to. It's like I go through this big like battle arena, and I'm like trying to find interesting ways to flank them or make sure I don't get flanked. I use my powers. I feel like a badass. This stupid fucking scene comes, and then it's just done. Some of the side quests have bosses, and so there's at least a little bit of a, crescendo and then peak to the climax. But then some of them don't, so all you have is that dipshit cutscene, and it's just like, was there no quality control? Was there just nobody watching these cutscenes and thinking, this seems a bit ham-fisted, this seems a bit, in your face or whatever. Is that really what we want to go for? Like, I don't know. I hate it. I have genuinely never cared less about a story. I mean, usually in order for me to enjoy a game, I have to care about what's going on, even if it's tangentially. But in this one, don't care. Just let me go pew-pew. Let me go pew-pew. Let me go throw out turrets or do pyro stuff or big earthquake stuff. Just let me do shit. I don't care. I don't fucking care. So
let you do shit. We will let you do shit.
Right? So it's like if we were rating it, story is a 1, gameplay is a 20 out of 10. Like, I fucking love it. So anyways, so that's it. That's the Nick and Nate show. Come back next Friday for more Nick and Nate shows. And as always, subscribe to YouTube. We got videos coming out every week. We got some previews, reviews, us talking about random stuff, all that kind of good stuff. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I was Nick, and
I was...
Sorry.
I was Nate.
Were you, though?
I was.
Okay, good. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and you guys have a wonderful, fantiddly-astic day.